Hello, this is Filip Hendrickx, and I'm currently at the BBC conference in San Antonio, Texas, the largest conference in the world on business analysis. And one of the speakers here is Adrian Reed, who is kind enough to have a short conversation with me. Adrian, I guess you are known as a true advocate for business analysis, and that summarizes really who you are, at least professionally. Prolific blogger, author of 2 books by now. Immediate past president of IIBA UK chapter.
Not immediate past president anymore, but I am a past president.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah.
Any other things relevant for the audience?
No.
I
I think that says it all. Really, just very enthusiastic about the value of the business analysis role.
Okay, which is why you are here at the conference to give 3, or to have given 3 presentations or workshops.
Yeah.
One of them was on PreProject problem analysis and its relation or value for innovation.
Yeah.
Could you explain what is PreProject problem analysis and why would I care?
Yeah. So I think so often what happens is organisations or stakeholders gravitate towards a solution. And we've probably all worked on those projects where it's like, well, just implement this. We've decided we want this system. But it's like, actually that system may or may not be the best solution. And actually it's never just about the IT, because the IT exists within a whole set of processes, there are people, there are politics, there are all these messy things around it. And so pre-project problem analysis starts by taking a thin slice through the situation to work out, well, why are we doing this in the first place? You know, what are the objectives? What problem are we trying to solve? And then broadly, what's the scope of that problem situation? And then encourages us to think divergently about all of the possible, the universe of solutions. So you end up with a long list and then a short list, but doing that in a relatively short length of time. So you go through a thin slice to figure out, well, here's the problem we're trying to solve. Is this right? Are we all agreed? Great. Now let's go do it.
Okay. And I think indeed it's important to do it in a short amount of time, because stakeholders are typically waiting to get something done yesterday.
Exactly.
Is that enough for them to spend some time on it? Just a promise that it will be brief?
Yeah, I think so. And I think also because we create the space to talk about root causes. And as soon as we start to expose root causes, people start to realize, oh wow, it's a bit more complex.
Okay.
And actually then we may well save time, because we've spent this little bit of time working out the problem. But that's meant that we haven't gone and implemented a solution that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So so it's like we're spending a little bit of time up front so that we can do it right, but that means we don't have to do it twice.
Yeah, okay. And once people experienced it, they're probably more eager to do it a second time on a second project again. And
once people have seen it, I mean, in my experience, once people have seen it, it becomes the new normal. And they understand the value of having someone who practices business analysis to help them, to facilitate them through that process.
Yeah, okay. And do you have an example of a very useful, simple technique for people to get started with this, to just trigger the interest in this pre-project problem analysis?
Yeah, I mean there are so many, but 2 which spring to mind immediately. I mean, just 5 whys. And I know sometimes we sort of think about 5 whys and think, well, it's so trivial, but it's really powerful. But 5 whys, I think sometimes it's traditionally viewed as you just ask why. But I find you have to, you ladder down, but then you have to ladder back up, because there are often multiple causes. So actually using it up and down to get to root causes, and then something like a fishbone diagram, Ishikawa, or a multiple cause diagram, or there's like cognitive maps you can use and rich pictures or other, but they're more in the systems thinking space.
Okay.
But those are the kind of techniques that we can just go out and do tomorrow. And start to really make a difference.
Yeah, and it can even be in an informal setting. You don't need a formal meeting or anything, just a conversation can get it started.
Yeah, a lot of pre-project problem analysis in my view is around those conversations. And even just asking people, what outcome are you looking for?
Yeah.
Are you looking to increase revenue or avoid costs or do something different? And so another technique like the balanced business scorecard, helping people think, okay, what are the financial outcomes, what are the customer outcomes, what internal process outcomes, and so on, can be so useful just to focus people's minds and create and cultivate that conversation.
Okay, that sounds great and very practical to apply right away.
You
just mentioned systems thinking. How does it relate to pre-project problem analysis? Maybe also what is it exactly?
Well, how long have you got? So I mean, systems thinking, there are various traditions of, so systems thinking isn't one thing, it's lots of things.
Okay.
But one thing they have in common is they see that the world is made up of interconnected things. And so often what I think we try and do as human beings and as organisations is we're like, well, we just want to change that bit there, so we'll change that bit there. But actually that thing is connected to a whole bunch of other things, and if we don't understand what it's connected to, we can end up either moving the problem or actually making the situation much, much worse. So it's about the connectivity or thinking about the situation as a system and the different areas of connectivity. And so it has a natural overlap with pre-project problem analysis, because it can help us really understand problem situations. Particularly in sort of a complex and complicated environment, we can start to see those interconnections. And if it's a really messy situation, we might have to say, you know what, actually we can't know for sure what the solution is. But what we can do is make a hypothesis. You know, and I know this fits well with a lot of your sort of innovation canvas and so on, but it's a case of, you know, actually we can have a hypothesis of value and say, well, we reckon if we do this, this will happen. Let's try.
Okay.
Let's do an experiment and try.
Yeah.
And so in systems thinking, for example, it's much more normal to talk about an intervention rather than a solution, because you are intervening on a situational system of interest, but you can never really know what you can predict, but you can never really know what's going to happen until you do it.
And so you do an intervention and you look at the parts and the whole, and how the parts influence the whole.
Exactly, and you learn, and that's the other thing. I mean, again, in systems thinking, or in many branches of systems thinking, there's a focus on learning, because we can't ever know everything about the situation, or not one person, but as a group you can learn your way through. So when you're trying to solve those big tricky problems, if we all have something to bring, and if we can map it out, play with it, hypothesize, then we can learn our way through and actually hopefully create something that is sort of awesome at the end of it.
And that ties nicely into the role of a BA, not as a knowledge expert, but as a facilitator for the collaboration.
A facilitator, and also someone who can ask those challenging questions and can bring the techniques that have structure but also flexibility. So, it's not like with those kind of complex situations, a rigid methodology is probably not going to be the most useful, but a set of methods that you can adapt and make relevant for the context, that can go a long, long way.
Okay, very interesting. I'm pretty sure there's much more information in the books that you have written. So maybe you can show the readers, or the listeners at least, the book that...
So this is my my most recent book, Business Analyst. It's published by BCS and it's available on, from BCS directly or on Amazon. This is very much about the BA career. And getting into the career, the scope of what the role is, the different types of business analysis roles that are out there, and it's got some case studies in there of people who have become BAs from different backgrounds as diverse as sort of a paramedic, someone who's got a master's degree in astrophysics, and my aim in writing the book was really to show there's no one right way in, and there's no one single career path. It's just such a varied, interesting role that we have the ability to kind of make it our own.
And having that strange, so to say, entry point is actually enriching the BA profession probably.
Exactly, and there's so much business analysis that happens in other roles, even if people don't know it. So like the paramedic that I spoke to, really fascinating guy, was saying, well, actually there are similarities, because you're a paramedic, you're there, you've got something that's staring you in the face, you've got to diagnose a problem. There are actually procedures that you need to follow, but you're ultimately looking for the best solution for the best patient outcome for that situation. And you sort of think about it, well, often we're thrown into situations, and very rarely, luckily, it's not life and death for us. So, but we're still looking at a situation, trying to figure out what's wrong, and trying to prescribe, in inverted commas, the right solution. And again, we can only do it with the team of professionals around us.
Yeah, and then focusing on the outcome.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thanks very much. You have a website, a Twitter account that we will also show at the end of the video.
Fantastic.
So people can contact you in that way as well. And if there are any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to share them in the comments below the video. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.